Hello everyone. This is your professor once again, Danny Reneta Cabulay for the course Accountancy Research. We are now in video lecture number 33. So for this particular segment, we will be talking about how to present your data in graphs, okay? So graphs are visual in nature and they're very appealing and attractive to the eyes. That's why in many cases, you might want to present your data in graphical form. And there are many kinds of graphs. Let's look at each one of them. The most basic and simplest type of graph is called the line graph. So yan yung may mga guhit, no? Pataas, pababa, or zigzag, okay? So up and down. So you will see the behavior of the figures. Are they going down? Are they going up? Or are they staggered? Or are they erratic? Okay? Or is it smooth? Or is it steep? Or is the slope very steep or not? Okay? So again, the graph shows the behavior of the figures. So in this particular example that we're showing in the PowerPoint presentation that accompanies this video, the line graph shows the behavior of stock prices of 3 companies over a 10-month period. So you can do comparisons. So which one is the best performing stock, okay, of these stock prices, okay? There must be a legend to differentiate the lines. So sometimes the legend are based on color, okay? So that means your graph has to be in full color to appreciate and differentiate the different variables, okay? So go back to the PowerPoint so you can see the example. Another type of graph is the bar graph. Again, this is another type of basic graphical presentation because it's easy to read and they're bold and colorful, so they're very easy to comprehend, okay? In the example in the PowerPoint, the bar graph depicts the number of licensed brokers of a large real estate firm who have reached their sales quota during the 9-month period. So notice how the best month, which is the month of July, was highlighted and a different color was used with a different color and the peak amount indicated. So you'd see that that is the highest achievement, okay, for the year, the month of July. So the bar graph can be very useful and easy to use, okay? The third type of graph is a pie chart. I like this because I love pizza. So a pie chart looks like a pie. So it's circular in shape or round, or maybe you can call it resembles a pizza. Remember, a pie or a pizza pie is divided into different slices, or each part is a segment of the pie, okay? So the pie chart represents how the respondents to a survey perceive a stimulus package given by the government to alleviate their plight during the COVID pandemic. So again, you will see the representation in different colors, okay? So you see that the segment colored orange appears to be the most preferred package, no, for COVID. So again, this is how the pie is presented. Another type of graph is called the bar line graph. So this is basically a combination, a combo chart, they call it, that combines the bar graph and the line graph. So in the example presented in the PowerPoint, it will show you the production level as a percentage of capacity depicted by the bars versus the unit fixed cost represented by the line. And over a 9-month period, so you could see that relationship between these two variables, okay? Production level versus unit fixed cost. Another type of graph is the scatter plot, also called the scattergram, okay? So, kasi these are just dots, a series of dots, but the dots have a direction. So they could be directed upward or downward, or there's no direction. They're just scattered all over the place. So what do the dots mean? So if you draw a line, if you can draw a line, that means the relationship of the variables are almost linear. That means when you increase one variable, the other one also increases. When the other one is decreased, the other variable is decreased as well. So remember, you use a scatter plot if you want to establish a relationship. So ginagamit ito kapag ikaw ay nasa isang correlation study. Usually scatter plot or scattergram ang ginagamit. This scatter plot, the scatter plot in the PowerPoint presentation demonstrates strong positive correlation between revenues and radio advertisements. Kapag ikaw ba ay nag-advertise sa radio, tataas ba ang revenues mo? That is the relationship you want to establish in the example that I gave in the PowerPoint presentation. Okay? Now, another type of, so you could see that, in the different examples of scatter plots, you could have a perfect positive correlation. You could also have the opposite, a perfect negative correlation. You could have a highly positive correlation or a highly negative correlation. And maybe a low positive correlation if it's not too steep, or a no correlation at all. Okay? So there are 7 possibilities actually. Okay? So you use it especially if you're doing a correlation study. Now, another type of graph is called the waterfall. So, para din siyang bar chart, kaya lang may mga bars na papataas at mayroong mga bars na pababa. Kaya nga siya parang waterfall. The waterfall chart that I'm showing in the PowerPoint presentation shows the relevant variances, no? In the operation of a training center. No? So, you see, mayroong mga bars na pataas at mayroong mga bars na pababa. Okay? So again, you can use this if it fits your study. Then another type of graph is the histogram. Okay? A histogram is like a bar chart, but actually you want to depict the spread of the numbers. So in the example that I've shown in the PowerPoint presentation, the histogram depicts the spread of beneficiaries of a specific company program according to age bracket. Okay? From age 0 to age 100 plus. Okay? So that is how you depict a histogram. Now, another type of graph is called the gauge chart. So in the example that I gave, if you're trying to measure the kinds of customers that you have in a particular company, the gauge chart in the example I gave shows the level of new customers achieved during the year. That is 65% of the maximum target, but within the acceptable range. Okay? Kasi pag naka 65 na, okay na yan. But obviously, pinakita natin dun sa ating example sa PowerPoint presentation na it's beyond 65, and therefore, the gauge chart shows you that the company is on target with its goal. Okay? Now, another type of graph is the area graph. So, the area graph is like a mountain, para siyang bundok, no? So, two mountains you're trying to compare two or more mountains. So, when you do this area graph, we have to play around with colors again, or shades. In the example I gave in the PowerPoint presentation, the area graph compares the sales of a restaurant chain in terms of its delivery mode. No? The online deliveries represent the white order, the white map, the white color, rather the gray. And then the dark blue color represents the takeout. No? So obviously the takeout orders are smaller, but the online deliveries are a much larger figure. And those are taken from a restaurant during the pandemic months. Okay, so you can compare two types of modes of sales. So that's an example of how you can use an area graph. Then there's what you call a spider chart, kasi para siyang gagamba. So this is like a radar also. So this radar graph that I'm showing in the PowerPoint presentation compares three branded phones in terms of speed, screen size, camera, quality, memory, and apps that you can upload. Okay, so you can see there's phone number 1, phone number 2, and phone number 3. So you can use this when you're doing a comparative analysis or a comparative study. That can be a good graph to use. And finally, there's what you call the dashboard. In the dashboard, there's so many things going on. So you can have a combination of a bar line graph. You can have a gauge chart, a waterfall. You can have a pie chart, etc. So many things are going on in a dashboard because this is for multitaskers. You can upload so much information at a glance. Okay. For example, a multinational logistics company would like to study their performance in Europe insofar as key performance indicators or KPIs such as fleet efficiency, time management, destination coverage, and loading efficiency are concerned. So refer to the PowerPoint presentation to understand this narrative, okay? Dashboard is one of the more sophisticated types of graph or presentation of data. It's complicated, okay? But it's nice to look because you're trying to add some sophistication to your study or to your report. So we are now on to our question for this video. At the end of each video, I always ask a question and you have an exercise to answer, okay? So which graph? That's the question. There are 5 items, so you have to answer all the 5 items. So I want to see 5 answers. What graph will you use? From the following data that I'm going to enumerate, identify the type of graph that would best showcase the said information. Okay, number 1. The number of companies that have closed down during the pandemic from March 2020 until October 2021. What graph will you use? There's not one definite answer. One item, you could have 2 or 3 possible answers. Okay? Number 2, budget allocation for 2022 across 5 departments in a company. Number 3, relationship between years of experience of a manager and their salaries. Number 4, 5 schools were evaluated based on enrollment, size of teaching force, investment on technology, and number of academic programs offered. And number 5, number of new depositors of a bank versus its target for the first, second, third, and fourth quarters of the year. So remember, I would expect you to give 5 answers because there's item 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So try to answer, type in your answers at the bottom of video lecture number 33 in this YouTube channel. Okay? See you around for video lecture number 34, upcoming up next. Okay?